Jesus Christ. What's going on, guys? Welcome to this YouTube video. My name is Cameron and this is the review for Ultimate Spider-Man issue 88. And by the way, guys, this is an excuse to get my comic book collection out for you guys. There is Ultimate Spider-Man issue 88, Hulk is holding it, and that is what's going to happen for the rest of these Ultimate Spider-Man reviews. I'm going to have the actual issue in the background so that you guys know that I actually have the issue in my comic book collection. And since I'm talking about the Ultimate Spider-Man comic book collection, obviously for you guys that have been with me since the beginning of these reviews, you'll know that I have every single issue of Ultimate Spider-Man in my comic book collection. But for any of you guys that have joined us recently, yes, I have every single issue of Ultimate Spider-Man in my comic book collection. You can see it on screen right now. I've got issue 1 all the way up to issue 160 and beyond, and I even have issue 160 signed by Stan Lee. So yes, I actually met Stan Lee at Comic-Con and got that issue signed. And of course, I also have this super rare Ultimate Spider-Man issue 111, which is just awesome as well. So I've got quite a few issues like that are pretty rare in there. And I also have like the white edition of issue 104. That's pretty awesome as well. Like, that's pretty rare. So yeah, not only do I have every single issue of Ultimate Spider-Man, but I also have some of the rare variants and just stuff like that. So yeah, let's get into this video. So what happened in the previous issue of Ultimate Spider-Man? Well, in issue 87 of Ultimate Spider-Man, we saw that Silver Sable actually failed on keeping hold of Flash Thompson, and it all got out to the school, and Flash Thompson became like a little bit of a celebrity, and Peter Parker had to deal with that. And we also saw the ramifications of Peter Parker being with Kitty Pryde and what Mary Jane thought of that. And she wasn't really taking it too well, but it was nice to have Mary Jane back in these Ultimate Spider-Man comics. But what also came along with the press of Flash Thompson also brought the press to Peter Parker's school, which obviously means that Peter Parker's secret identity is in danger now that everybody knows that Spider-Man goes to that high school. And towards the end of the issue, we saw that Peter Parker actually got confronted by some police officers and the security guards and wanted to check his rucksack, and which by all of us know that his Spider-Man costume is in his rucksack. And that is where the issue ended, with a cliffhanger. So obviously we're going to see what happens next in this Ultimate Spider-Man comic. But before we get into that, guys, before we get into this review, I've got a giveaway for you. So as you guys know, I'm actually giving away these guys every couple of days or every couple of videos or whatever. So today I'm giving away the Miles Morales version of this pop figure. Last time I gave away the Spider-Man Homecoming one, but today is the Miles Morales one. So all you have to do to enter this giveaway is literally just leave a comment below. Let me know what you thought about this issue and what you liked about this video, or just maybe just a general comment in general. So yeah, just hit the like button on this video and leave a comment below, and I will choose a winner at random, and next week I will announce the winner of this giveaway in one of the Ultimate Spider-Man reviews in the future. Maybe like around issue 90 or something like that. So yeah, keep an eye out for that, guys. But yeah, without further ado, let's get into this Ultimate Spider-Man issue 88 review. Let's go. Alright guys, so just bear with me whilst I review this issue because I've got a really bad sore throat, so I apologise for that. But as we're opening up the issue, we're going into the ramifications of what's actually happened from the previous issue with all of the press at Spider-Man's school, and of course we're rejoining Peter Parker in front of those security guards having his rucksack searched. And as we all know, his Spider-Man costume is actually in his rucksack, so this is going to be a close call. Now, I think it's obvious that Spider-Man is going to somehow avoid this situation, like he's not actually going to get his identity revealed, but the Ultimate Spider-Man comics and Brian Michael Bendis as the writer is really good, as I've already said, at just teasing moments like this, teasing the parts where Spider-Man nearly gets his identity revealed to everybody, and this keeps happening and it's a reoccurring thing throughout the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, and it really puts emphasis on just what it's like to be Spider-Man, like always trying to protect your identity and always getting yourself into situations where your identity could be revealed. And I think the comic, and of course the writer Brian Michael Bendis, does an awesome job at depicting that through the pages of the comic. Now, as we're getting through the comic, as you can see, just like good old Peter Parker fashion, he actually blames himself for this ordeal and the situation that he finds himself in, all because he went back to school in his Spider-Man costume too many times, and then people figured out that he went to high school there. So in a way, it kind of is Peter Parker's fault, but just like always, he's beating himself up way too hard over this thing. It's not entirely his fault, but the way he's feeling has led him to Aunt May and where she works, and Peter has the thought in mind to actually reveal his identity to Aunt May to get it out of the way, just to get it over and done with before she finds out accidentally. And this part of the comic actually always bothered me because Peter doesn't actually straight up just tell her, like he's always dead vague about the situation. He just hands her his rucksack and says the word Spider-Man, but he stutters it and he doesn't really get to the point of why he's saying it. And it's almost like, has Peter lost his tongue? Like, why is he being so confusing and vague about the situation when he's gone there specifically to tell her that he's Spider-Man? So in a way, sometimes every now and again throughout these Ultimate Spider-Man comics, there is the little bit of the problem of Brian Michael Bendis teasing one thing and then keeps teasing it, and eventually you can just tell that Brian Michael Bendis is trying to avoid the secret identity reveal altogether. And so as I was reading the issue, that did kind of bother me that Peter didn't just straight up say it to Aunt May, but luckily there actually was a good reason as to why Peter Parker didn't reveal his identity, and it was because Aunt May hates Spider-Man, which was actually a really shocking thing to see. Like, she actually full on hates Spider-Man. And I think that's really ironic considering her own nephew Peter is Spider-Man. Like, it's just a really awesome conflict between the two characters such as Spider-Man and Aunt May. So that's going to be an interesting thing if she ever does find out that Peter Parker is Spider-Man in the future. Now, we've already passed it on screen, but one of my favourite parts of the comic was Peter Parker and Kitty Pryde talking on the phone. I think their interactions are just really interesting and actually quite a relaxing part of the comic. And it's really strange because nothing is really happening between the two characters. They're just talking on the phone, but you can feel that them two characters are dating each other. So it's like an intimate moment between the two characters where they're giving each other advice and they're just understanding each other, and you're watching their relationship sort of unfold. It's just awesome to read it in the comic, and it's a good sign that Kitty Pryde is good for Peter Parker. Now, moving onwards, as you can see, Flash Thompson, and of course, just like all bullies, or at least most of them in real life, he comes from a pretty messed up family where his dad is sort of thinking that $100,000 is not enough money, when really, obviously it is. But I think it's really nice to get an insight into Flash Thompson's home life, you know, to sort of understand why he is the way he is at school. Like, he goes to high school and he's popular, he feels powerful, etc, etc, but then when he goes home, he's technically just a kid, and it's his dad that's a little bit of like the bully in his eyes. And so you can understand why Flash Thompson is the way he is, and it actually makes you like Flash Thompson as a character all that more just because you understand a little bit more about him now. So it's great. But anyway, moving on and getting further into the issue, I keep falling behind with what's happening on screen because I keep talking too much. But as you can see, Spider-Man has actually gone out there to the location where Flash Thompson was kidnapped and found the criminals working with Silver Sable. And I just love how easily he takes these guys down. You can tell that Spider-Man is like the superior character in this situation right now. He's the one with the superpowers. He is Spider-Man after all, and he just bounces around them. He literally just runs circles around all of them without breaking a sweat. And I specifically love the entrance from Silver Sable where she just kind of came in all cool and calm, explaining the situation and why she's like not going to hurt Spider-Man. She just simply wants to take him to her employer, who we know as Roxxon, and she just wants to take him there for a talk. And I feel like Spider-Man kind of bit himself in the foot in this situation because obviously in the end they were just talking to him and telling him what they wanted, and Spider-Man just threw it back in their faces. And in the end, Spider-Man kind of screwed himself over, and now he has technically been kidnapped, even though he could have just walked with them guys, with Silver Sable, just then and there. So, yeah. Also, not to mention, I did love the name drop for Ant-Man, and how the characters just kind of humoured in on that, not really knowing what an Ant-Man was. It was really awesome. But that is the end of the issue, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed my awful, ill voice. My throat is hurting after this for sure. Okay, so closing off that issue, it was actually really interesting. And one of my favourite bits about it was actually the part where Spider-Man approached Flash Thompson. Because obviously Flash Thompson is secretly a massive Spider-Man fan. I can't remember whether he's a massive Spider-Man fan in the Ultimate Spider-Man comics, or whether that's just like in general with Flash Thompson, but we'll just roll with it. Moving on, this issue brought a really interesting factor of Peter Parker actually about to reveal his identity to Aunt May, and she basically just threw it back in his face when she said that she didn't like Spider-Man, when she said that she hated him and that he was an idiot. And you could just see the look on Peter Parker's face where he was just horrified at what was coming out of Aunt May's mouth. And I think the Ultimate Spider-Man comics do a really awesome job of, you know, like where something's about to happen but it doesn't really happen, it's almost like a tease. So for example, when Peter Parker gave his backpack to Aunt May and he said Spider-Man, all Aunt May had to do to discover that Peter Parker was Spider-Man was open the rucksack, and she didn't. And I think it was one of those things where obviously the Ultimate Spider-Man comics and Brian Michael Bendis as the writer want to tease something like that to you, but really, Peter Parker just said Spider-Man. Like, usually if you really wanted to reveal your identity to someone, you would say, I'm Spider-Man, and he was really vague about the situation. He didn't really point it out too much to her, so it was interesting to see that he almost did it, but he kind of backed away a little bit. Moving over to the combat side of the things with Spider-Man and Silver Sable and that interaction on the rooftop, I thought it was awesome how Spider-Man could just sort of bounce around everybody in there. Like, you could actually tell that Spider-Man was superior to all of those other characters that were trying to fight him. And I liked the way that Silver Sable dealt with the situation, where she actually just jumped in there and actually tried to explain to Spider-Man that there's no reason to, like, they don't have to hurt him. They just simply want to take him to the person that's hired them. Obviously, we know that it's Roxxon. Anyway, of course, the art style, like always, Mark Bagley, awesome artwork. Specifically, the artwork when Spider-Man was in Flash Thompson's room on the ceiling. I thought that looked really, really awesome. Really comic booky, but really, like, as I've already said, like, his artwork is, like, going through the evolution of artwork. Really awesome. In terms of this issue, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I thought the artwork, as I've already said, is amazing. The story is amazing. Just the whole way the Kitty Pryde and Peter Parker interactions are handled, and the fact that Spider-Man is struggling in school with all this press going on. It's getting pretty interesting, and it actually makes you look forward to the future issues. But now, guys, that is it for this video. That is it for this review. Don't forget, if you want to win this Miles Morales pop figure, then just leave a comment below and hit the like button on this video. And of course, one of the main things, please subscribe, please. I think we should aim for, like, say, because this is a giveaway and everything like that, I think we should aim for, like, the highest we've ever gone for, which is like 500 likes. So 500 likes on this video, enter the giveaway, hit the subscribe button. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you all in my next video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you later.